Works. Welcome to another RMSO podcast. We have Jenny Higley and I, Kelly Shaw, and we're here to talk with Survivorman Les Stroud about his new SMTV channel. We went backpack camping a couple of years ago with Les Stroud in the canyons near the South Uinta Mountains searching for Bigfoot. After 15 years of watching Survivorman with my two sons, it was an honor to camp with Les and to get to know the man. I remember when his Survivorman show first came out, I was amazed he was really out there doing it. No camera crew, alone, and surviving for up to 2 weeks at a time. When I heard Les was interested in the search for Bigfoot, I had to reach out to him and invite him to look around one of my favorite areas in Utah. I truly believe it's going to take someone with Les Stroud's skills to have a chance at finding Bigfoot and getting the clear, open footage that everyone's after of this elusive giant. He's willing to hunker down in the woods for weeks at a time. And I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and discuss your latest project with us, Les. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well, Kelly. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was actually a really great trip going out there with you. It was, I don't know if you recall, that we had the big cougar come in the camp that night.
Yeah, I've got a photo of that cougar if you guys want to check that out.
That was a big cat, and that was not far from our tent, that's for sure.
Yeah, I remember the next morning, you and your son saying, "Did you hear some growling last night?" And you know, and then we went and checked the game cameras, and that mountain lion staring at your tent. If I recall, there's just a little goalie between him and the tent that you were staying in that night.
Yep, that's correct. That's exactly right. I've got that photo at home as well. It was a really good experience, you know, just getting out there with you. I think a lot of the things that we start to learn about this, you know, researching this particular phenomenon, everything sort of becomes quite a collective of information and knowledge as far as and being out with you, same thing again. It's another piece of the puzzle, always adding to that puzzle.
So true.
So tell us, what's this SMTV channel that you've started? What's it all about?
Well, I mean, it's really something that I've been saying was going to happen for years. I've been telling my crews, my staff, and I said, you watch, you know, so at some point, sooner or later, we're going to be able to just do what we want to do and do it online, and it'll be quality enough, and there'll be a technical system in place that makes it doable. And that's really only just happening now. We had to invest in a system so that we could do it, which isn't that cheap. And we are able to launch, ostensibly, my own TV network online, smtvnetwork.com. And what it gives me the freedom to do, the biggest part of this is this freedom to produce content that you, the viewer, wants. And so there's no filter anymore. There's no network executive pressuring me for something. There's no network executive saying no to things I want to do. There's none of that. It's just the viewer and me, and I personally go and read all the comments that they put underneath all of the different films. So what I did was I set it up very much like a TV network. So you go to smtvnetwork.com and you'll see all these channels. The first and obvious one is the Survivorman channel. So that's all things Survivorman, behind the scenes, never before seen footage, and eventually new material, new Survivorman. The next channel you might see is classically Survivorman Bigfoot. There's a big call for that. So this channel will be absolutely, and we can come back to this obviously, well, this channel will be dedicated to Bigfoot footage and films and the work that I do and continue to do. Another channel is the EnviroFilms channel. It gives me a chance to highlight really well shot films about the earth, the planet, the environment, that kind of thing. Not public service announcements, but actual really well shot film. Great stories being told. And then a couple of my favorites. One is the Instructional channel. So you know that on Survivorman, I've got 43 minutes to tell you a 1-week story, and sometimes I'll show a skill that might take 20 minutes to teach. I've got 90 seconds to explain it. So this way on the Instructional channel, I'm doing all kinds of individual skills, breaking them down, being specific, everything from how to tie a bowline knot to shelters and fires to even in the field documentary filmmaking and adventure and camping instruction. So all of that's on the Instructional channel. The other one that's proving to be a real exciting channel for a lot of people is the Director's Commentary channel. That seems to be everybody's favorite so far. And what I do there is I actually set up a camera filming me from the side while I'm watching me. So you're watching me watch me, and I'm walking through, and I might like pause and go, oh, in this part right here, and I'll explain a lot of the stories that you've never heard before, things that happened and went down. So people are really loving the Director's Commentary. I just filmed one yesterday for the Colorado episode that I did on horseback, and we add new material every single month, sometimes even every week. So this is basically your network. It's the viewers' network to get directly in touch with me. So never before have you ever been able to have the viewer, that's you, and the content provider, that's me, directly in contact, me working for you, basically. Imagine, not that I would ever do this, compare myself to such people, but imagine, if you will, if Clint Eastwood said he was going to make his own network. And everything he ever did is going to be on there, and everything he's about to is going to be on there. So it's like that. It's all completely in my control and your control. And that is smtvnetwork.com. And here's my sales pitch: for the price of a cup of coffee. It's $2.99 a month for students, $3.99 for non-students. And that gets you all this stuff I mentioned, and it gets you a voice in what I do next.
That's awesome.
So we just go to this channel and we can subscribe right there on the channel. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, simple as that. smtvnetwork.com. And it's slowly becoming available on all the various apps for Androids, Apple apps, Roku, all these things that people have. We're getting that going. Sometimes people go, well, where do I go for this? It's like, well, actually, you're asking me online, so you're online. So just go up to the browser and type smtvnetwork.com and you're in. And you can leave anytime you want, of course, like any other sort of network online. And it's a thrill for me to finally be at this place, to be building something that has me in direct contact with the people I'm making the content for in the first place. Oh, and I almost forgot, big favorite channel of mine, everything to do with Les Stroud music. So I'm always touring and putting out new albums. I just came off tour, 2 new albums out this year. So constantly new music stuff too. So you can see where this can go. In fact, in the future, we have a channel that will be dedicated to 360 virtual reality. And we're already starting to film those. So on and on it will go, all for the price of a cup of coffee each. So basically what I was saying to people is, just buy me a cup of coffee once a month, and you get me as your personal film producer.
That sounds fair. I left a link in the description of this podcast, so anybody can go down there, click on that, and it'll take you right to Les Stroud's SMTV. And I saw you on an environmental type channel. You were on a ship down south. I guess it was in Baja California. I'm probably wrong, but you were down there somewhere doing environmental work, and I thought that was pretty amazing. That type of stuff is going to be included on this channel too?
Absolutely, yeah. That was a stint I did on the Sea Shepherd, and like them or love them, the main reason for their existence is to protect the unprotected, the endangered, the very close to extinction, porpoises, dolphins, whales, sharks. And they do a lot of good work. There's a lot of hoopla over what they did because television made the whale wars and all that. That's got nothing to do with the reality of Sea Shepherd. Sea Shepherd actually does an incredible amount of great conservation work, and they work hand in hand with the Mexican government to be where they are there. So that was some time I spent down there. But to answer your question, absolutely. And on the EnviroFilms Drawdown channel on smtvnetwork.com, I'll be featuring work like that for sure.
Gosh, that's exciting. And all the stuff that gets cut out, like you were saying, you're out there for a week or two and you've got to cut it down into 43 minutes. It'll be great to get out there and see the full experience of what's going on the channel. So you're going to go back and revisit old content that didn't make it on television, and I assume you're also going to be putting out new Survivorman episodes?
Yeah, absolutely. Old content behind the scenes. I mean, even small things are so easy for us to do. For example, you wouldn't know this, but the shows edited for the European market are actually, I think, 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes longer, maybe 3. So that's all content that goes into that cut.
We're getting robbed in the United States.
What's that?
we're getting robbed in the United States. Everybody else
basically.
is
You've never
on
seen
their
that
time.
stuff. So now I put it on. This is my network. I can do what I want with it. You know, and then the new content, especially for Survivorman. Now, Survivorman's it's a big thing to do. It's not an inexpensive show to edit and film and get out there. So what I've promised everybody is if you guys can hit 20,000 subscribers, I'm out the door and I'm doing a new Survivorman. And for every 20,000 subscribers, I will make a new Survivorman episode. That's my promise.
That sounds fair. Everybody get out there and subscribe so we can see more Survivorman episodes.
That's true.
Absolutely.
I listened to some of your music and I'm really impressed. That was just amazing to me. I had no idea that you could sing like that.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I've been a musician since, you know, I was 14 is when I first embarked on wanting to be in music. And I got out of it to be, I stayed there for 10 years, got out of it. I was in it professionally, got out of it to be an adventurer. And then eventually that led to Survivorman. And then I got back into it and wrote, you know, things like the theme songs for Survivorman, stuff like that. And I've been now, you know, I've got 4 CDs out now, 2 brand new ones coming out this year for 6, actually 3 for 7. And I tour all the time. We just finished a show in Boise, Idaho at the Sapphire Room, and we played at the Tower Theater in Bend, Oregon. And we had an amazing time. I love the stage and I love performing. And, you know, the other cool part about me being out there performing musically is I never deny the Survivorman fan. So halfway through the show, the band leaves the stage and I stay there, sit on a stool, and I do Q&A about Survivorman right in the middle of a concert.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember when we were out there in southern Utah looking for Bigfoot, and we're around the campfire and you're playing the harmonica, and about 20 minutes after you put the harmonica down, something come up close to camp and vocalized, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It sounded like an elk just barely starting to get his bugle, and it stopped. But it just kind of amazed me that your harmonica brought in some animal to check us out at camp.
It works really well, actually. Music is terrific for that. And in terms of the Sasquatch researching, in fact, I was just speaking with somebody this morning about that, about going out and you have to take it to task. You have to go out, sit in the dark, and play, you know, play well, play nicely, and go out. One guy goes out with a flute. Certainly, I play harmonica. I could go out and do that, or I could play, you know, Indian flute sort of thing. And it's an interesting, you know, way to try to invoke, if that's the right word, an experience to happen. You know, a lot of I remember playing harmonica and bringing in 25 loons on the lake, and they came right over to me while I was playing harmonica, and I know it was because I was playing harmonica. They came over and they started up, and then when I stopped, they stopped and they left. And so it should be no surprise that there is a role for that kind of subtle way of looking for an interaction.
Yeah, that's true. On your channel, is there going to be somewhere where you can find where you're going to be playing music live?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And also on my regular website, lesstroud.ca, or on my social media, you've got Real Les Stroud, you know, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All of those things are always active, and there's always tour dates on those. So I'm really easy to find online and to find. I mean, you just type in tour dates Les Stroud and it'll come up. The next show, actually, I might as well give you this though. The next show I've got coming up will be June, I believe it is June 23rd in Gatlinburg, and June 24th at the Holston River Brewery, which is like an hour or 2 away from Gatlinburg. So those are coming up, and then I've got, I think, and not until I don't know what else is happening after that. But I go down to LA to record, and I've got a show in Kirkland Performing Center in Washington in November 10th. So, and I'm trying to ramp that up. I do love performing a lot, and it's such a great evening. Like people, you know, you can look at the comments online. I don't have to brag about myself. You can look at the comments online, and people are blown away because I love entertainment. So I demand good entertainment. So I demand of myself that I give you an evening like no other. And, you know, big video screens and imagery and the songs and the storytelling. I had a woman who actually was at the show 2 nights ago, and she said, that's it. You just replaced Van Halen for my all-time favorite concert.
That's awesome. That's impressive. I'd really like to see one of them.
As you should. You guys got to come out. Well, sooner or later, I'll be playing in your neck of the woods.
Right.
Yeah, we could have came to the Idaho one. I just didn't know.
We actually later on off air, we can chat about. We'll email each other about locations that I can play in your neck of the woods, which I'm always looking for. This is the thing I'm always looking for good places to play. I played for Jeff Meldrum last week at the theater at ISU just north of Salt Lake City. So that was probably pretty close to you, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we missed out on.
No. Well, all right. Well, it'll happen again.
Are you going to keep up the search for Bigfoot on this new channel? You have any plans on any more Bigfoot episodes?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I don't feel that I'm done. I don't feel that I've exhausted that the potential for my artistic side, which is to say the potential for great filmmaking with that. I don't think I've exhausted the questions that need to be answered. I don't think I've exhausted the methodology for answering those questions. So yeah, I intend to absolutely do more. I think there is some small things that I can do right away. For example, I'm going to start doing some instructional clips on searching for Bigfoot, and I can put that on my instructional channel. Again, nobody can tell me that I can't. So now I can go out and say, all right, you know, it might be something as simple as showing how to cast a print. If people don't know how to do that just blindly, it's good to know all the tricks and tips. Right. So I'll start showing that. And then again, when the enough subscribers are there, again, basing it on like that 20,000 sort of turnover, I will head out and I actually do have a goal of creating a very in-depth feature documentary film about the phenomenon. I think that there has been excellent films done to date, but it's time for a new proper professional version to happen again. There's a lot of new information now.
That sounds exciting.
There is. And a lot of times people will do half of a documentary and then throw a bunch of stuff in that's like B-movie stuff, which is kind of disappointing.
It is. You know, I mean, look, it's the same thing. As I said, maybe this is a little bit different, but when Survivorman first started, there were some survival films, and they were all nonsense. And they weren't good because if somebody from a television network tried to make them, they didn't know anything about survival. And if somebody who knew a lot about survival made them, they didn't know anything about filmmaking. So along I came with a new situation. Sasquatch films, not really the same situation because Finding Bigfoot came along, and you know, Survivorman Bigfoot was not the first. Like Survivorman was the first of its kind for sure, but Survivorman Bigfoot was not the first. You know, Bigfoot series, because Finding Bigfoot was there, and there had been other documentaries by Doug Hychek which were terrific. But what I did do was, I think, keep probably the most open-minded approach to what is possible and what's going on out there. And I brought that to each of my episodes of Survivorman Bigfoot. I had a lot to learn. And so I think that the world is very much ripe for a new documentary film that is put together by a professional. I've seen some of the ones done even in like within the last year, and they just still, you know, I mean, what do you say? They just kind of miss the mark professionally, and in the way
they're lacking.
Can be out there. Yeah.
I'm really excited to watch more of your how-to videos because we're always trying to figure out more exciting ways to stay out longer and do things different. And I think we're gonna do a survival video this summer, and so we'll have to watch some of your videos to learn how to do some of that stuff.
Well, like I said, at least I get to be a little straight to the point and specific and detailed. Some of the stuff we're gleaning from the episodes, we're isolating a certain skill, because what I'll do is literally I'll look at the skill, the thing that was taught, and maybe my editor will say, hey, what do you think about this, the signal mirror thing you taught in the Kalahari? And I'll watch it, and I might say, in that case, I said it was good, but I might look at it and go, you know what? I wasn't detailed enough. Don't use that one. I'll go redo it for real. And so that's been the fun of the instructional channel, is giving you information. I mean, there's even, we had clips of me teaching how to pack for camping. Oh. Seems simple. Not if you've never done it. Sure, there's some people that would look at it and go, oh, I do that all the time. But there are others that go, I don't even know where to start. well, here I am. So that's what I'm loving about that channel.
That was the biggest attraction for me back when you started your Survivorman. I'm a camping enthusiast, and I've always been a Bigfooting enthusiast, and I just didn't know anything about survival, and it was great having someone lay it out there for me, and help me prepare for emergencies when I'm out there, because you always have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I really want to see a lot of your instructional videos. A lot of survival shows, you watch it and you're like, how did they do that? And so it's really nice for someone to lay it out for you in like a teaching type environment.
Well, I think too, the way I've always approached things for Survivorman, I was a survival instructor first. So I wasn't going to teach anything other than skills that I knew that mattered to actual and real survival. When the other shows came along, they were TV producers first, the people who were in charge. So they were doing things that they thought would look cool for the camera, had nothing to do with survival, and sometimes even dangerous. Same thing with the Bigfoot situation. I wanted to be very realistic and very transparent about everything I did, from using trail cams to audio listening devices to, DNA traps, all of that sort of stuff. But even there, just like Survivorman, I could only get so detailed. Now I'm going to go back at it, and I'm going to be able to teach and say, look, okay, for example, how do you set up, a trail cam runway to potentially funnel, a creature into a certain direction? There's a method to that. And to explain it might take 8 or 9 minutes. You can't put that in a TV show. You only got about 120 seconds you really should spend on that moment, because otherwise it's too didactic and boring. It doesn't mean the instructional is didactic and boring. It means that you can go to that one clip on how to do that, and there it is. It's specific and it's laid out. And if you're watching that in the first place, you're already interested, so it's not going to be boring.
Right.
Yeah,
that's something that's something that we'll be going to and watching, that we're very interested in, the how-tos.
I know a lot of times we're out there, we're looking at plants and different things, and we're like, I wonder if that's edible, because we don't know.
Mm-hmm. We're getting better at it.
Actually, I was just thinking of that yesterday. I was out, and all, it's this time of year, all the flowers are out. And I thought, boy, there's so many places I could go and do what I used to do when I was a survival instructor. I could do an edible plant walk. Simple.
That'd be great.
And then you're showing people, and it's just, as I say, you can get so specific, and I don't have to figure it into the dramatic story of Les out on the land for 7 days. It's just teaching you.
Yeah, that's really nice.
One of the great things about knowing what's edible and what's not, I'm sure animals can eat a little bit more than we can that may make us sick, but knowing what's edible, what we can eat, there's a possibility that Bigfoot's eaten these same types of plants, and that would be a great place for us to watch, put a game camera, and so those types of instructional videos to us are just priceless. So the cup of coffee a month is totally worth it.
In the world of survival, there's so many things to know on one hand. On the other hand, a guy like me who knows it well can simplify it down to the basics of what you need to know. But the fun is somewhere in between, where you're given the basics, but then you can start expanding on it slowly into all the different pieces. And I think Sasquatch research is exactly the same. Taken as a whole, it's very overwhelming. DNA studies and catches and trail cams and hooping and hollering and what do they eat and where do they walk and all this sort of stuff can be overwhelming, get taken all at once. But if you break it down and just start with the basics, okay, first let's get out there. Right now I'm talking to you from Southern Oregon, and I'll give you an example. There's 2 things I would say about an interaction here. Number one, I do believe there are absolutely what you and I like to call hotspots. I think that actually happens, and so those up your odds. On the other hand, it's like saying there's a hotspot for cougar or black bear or elk. There definitely are, but that doesn't mean you aren't going to chance upon one or even attract one, just in a non-hotspot area. So I could go out to my backyard right up there where I ran into a cougar just a couple of months ago, from 20 feet away. We were staring at each other, you know, and there's black bear scat all up in there, and certainly skunk and everything else. So there's no reason for me not to believe that I couldn't employ some of the tactics and skills that we know about provoking an interaction right in my backyard. Or in my backyard, I have a place in Canada, or my backyard in Ontario, Canada. Same thing. But here's the cool part, and here's where you start to get specific. Well, you would do it differently in Oregon than you would in Utah? Would you do it differently in the Unita mountain area than you would over in Washington on the coast? Would you do it differently up in Canada and BC versus Ontario or the skunk ape in Florida? How do you think the interactions could occur? And this is the kind of, look, you've already got me getting all passionate here. This is the kind of stuff I love. I love teaching. I always have. And that's what Survivorman was all about. And I think people got that. They understood. It's like, look, the guy's just really telling it like it is. And at the same time, look how excited he gets about this way he's going to get a fire going. You know, it's the same thing for the Sasquatch phenomenon.
Thanks. That's awesome. How's your son?
Logan's doing fantastic. He's at school now. He's training in Muay Thai, kickboxing, and various MMA. He's in great shape. He's taking photography in Kelowna, British Columbia, and he's hooking up right now. Looks like he's heading off to Africa to shoot game in Africa. Not shoot with a gun, but shoot with a camera. Game in Africa, and work with some conservation societies there. So Logan's doing fantastic. And you guys, I don't know if you guys knew that I had a daughter as well. My daughter's a little bit older than Logan, and she's off doing marine biology and actually doing some research work for me. So yeah, they're doing good.
Oh, that's impressive. Yeah, you had a really nice crew. They're very, very polite.
You know, that's the thing over the years, you know. I can't say I haven't had a few people I wanted to kick off the set every now and again. But for the most part, you know, I've had people get involved with me that were pretty good heads, that were pretty decent people, and also very skilled. And that's been, you know, part of the joy of being out in the field filmmaking, is being out there with people who are just cool. You know, it makes all the difference in the world. We had such a good time with you guys and going through. And then, as I say, I mean, if you remember, Kelly, we had Logan was with us as we camped out that night. And that was great.
Yeah, I had a good time hanging out with him. Les likes to take off and do his own thing, so I got to spend a lot of time with your son. And he's a great kid, great young man, and yeah, he was talking about his future at the time. He recovered from his, I believe it was leukemia, and was talking about finishing school. And he was telling me, you know, I don't know if I'm going to get into filmmaking or photography, but if he has as much energy as his dad, he's just going to do it all.
Yeah, well, I don't think he does have as much energy as his dad. Logan is, he looks like me, but he's a lot more like his mom. So let's say laid back. But he's been around me so much that he sees the benefits of having some drive and enthusiasm and some passion for life. And so he expresses it. Plus he went through leukemia. So he went through a tough go there. I mean, he almost died. He was in ECU and almost died. So he's been through that, and that really sparked him up. My daughter actually looks like her mom, but she is me. So she has 17 things on the go at any one time and not sure which one to do first. So it's been really, I think, you know, speaking personally, it's been really appropriate and good for me that my son, who has more of a laid back personality like his mother, actually spends most of his time with me and gets the influence of his dad, who's, you know, arguably a driven individual.
Well, your son
Yes, you are.
exactly like you. He has your voice. It kind of freaked me out a couple of times. I mean, when I'm looking at you guys, it seems like he has a different voice. But there was a few times when we were out there backpacking, he would be talking behind me, and I thought it was you. And I'd flip around expecting to see you, and it was your son. And I'm like, wow, he's got his dad's voice. So if he decides to get into television, he's got that nailed.
Yeah, even more so now. It's funny how siblings work. I mean, I remember watching the two of them come through the airport one day. I was on the other side of security, and it was just completely classic. So Raylan, very strongly influenced by her mom, and Logan, very strongly influenced by me. Raylan comes through first, and she comes through, and she's very, excuse me, but very timid, very hold back, and very sort of that way, and sort of overly polite and everything, and then comes through. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot like her mother. And then Logan comes through. He walks through like he owns the airport. Yeah, that's right. I'm coming through. And I'm like, look at him going, that's how I walk through.
Yeah, it was awesome being able to camp with him and meet him and have mountain lions stalk us at night. We had a great time. I know you're in a hurry. You said you only had about 30 minutes, and we've expired that time. So I guess we need to cut this short unless you have something else to add.
No, did you want to? I got 5 minutes to jibber jab about Bigfoot, if you like. Is there anything that was on your mind as far as that? Like, have you guys? I can tell you, I haven't had a lot. What am I talking about? No, I'm lying. I have had some experiences since filming the show. I've carried on and done a bit of exploration, a bit of research. A lot of wonderful people have contacted me because of my work, and then invited me out to certain locations, and I've gone. A couple people I stayed away from, and then a couple other people was like, oh, you guys seem pretty cool, and I would go and checked out some very interesting stuff up in the Washington area, sort of in between the Adams, Rainier, Hood, sort of. I think those are the three that make the triangle, or maybe it's St. Helens. I can't remember. And keeping that going. So we'll see what happens in the future. As I said, I think the main thing for me is to be able to do a full feature-length documentary on Sasquatch, as well as start to do these instructional clips online. So I guess the last word I give you is just that, if your viewers can go and check out smtvnetwork.com. That's everything Survivorman, everything Les Stroud. It'll all be there at their fingertips. It's cheap, and then again, they can find me online anytime they want. Watch for the 2 new albums that are coming out, produced by Mike Klink, who's responsible for all of the Guns N' Roses albums and Metallica's best album. And yeah, he's my producer. Slash plays on one of my songs.
Awesome.
Yeah, he cut a solo for me. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. So hopefully I'll get a chance to see you guys out there. And I'm so sorry somehow that it got mixed up, that you did not hear about the Idaho concert with Jeff there. But I'll be back for sure. In fact, I'd like to come and play Salt Lake City.
That'd be great.
We would love to show up and see you play. I saw you on the Jimmy Fallon show, playing on that show, and you were tearing it up. So it would be great to come and see you live.
All right. Well, listen, email me after the fact. Let me know some places to play there. And otherwise, we're going to stay in touch no matter what. So thank you very much for having me on today.
All right. Hey, thanks for telling us about the SMTV. We had some questions about it and figured that our viewers and subscribers would want to hear it from you. All the questions that we had about it, it seems that you answered it all. In the description, we got the link. So get on there, subscribe, and we need to get him his 20,000 so that he'll get out there and make us another Survivorman episode. Thank you for your time, Les. I know you're a busy guy. You have a lot of projects going on, and we're out. Keep on squatching.
All right. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Nice to see you, Jenny.
All right. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, guys.